The Chief Health Officer says we're facing rapidly escalating cases of the highly contagious Delta strain in the community. 9 new infections were recorded overnight, bringing the Indooroopilly High cluster to 18. But authorities are worried low testing numbers could be hiding the true extent of the outbreak and are urging more people to come forward for testing as exposure sites multiply across Brisbane's north, south and west. State political reporter Rachel Rieger begins our coverage.
Deserted cities and quiet streets, now a familiar sight. Another snap lockdown for southeast Queensland as authorities deal with 9 new locally acquired cases.
These case numbers are, as to be expected with the Delta variant, rapidly escalating.
This is the most number of new community cases, new community infections we've reported in Queensland in almost 12 months.
6 schools have been caught up in the outbreak, with the cluster now at 18. 6 of today's cases are linked to Ironside State School in St Lucia, 4 of them stemming from karate lessons. One of those is a student who attends Brisbane Grammar School. His dad has also tested positive. Another 2 cases are linked to Indooroopilly State High School.
There are now thousands of Queenslanders subject to home quarantine directions.
How the school cases are linked to 2 returned overseas travellers is still not known, but it's suspected the outbreak started on the Sunshine Coast, where one of the travellers was treated in hospital.
I still think there will be cases there in the Sunshine Coast that we don't know about, and if we don't find them, they will continue to spread.
Despite long queues at testing stations, only 11,500 tests were conducted in the past 24 hours. Dr Young wants that increase to 40,000 a day.
In the Sunshine Coast, please, it is particularly important that you come forward.
We must be vigilant. Our testing numbers are not high enough.
Residents in Maroochydore heeded the call as motorists lined up for blocks. Yet others took advantage of the warm weather, flocking to the beach to exercise in the sun and surf. Police issued 28 fines and arrested 4 people for flouting lockdown rules. This is the 4th lockdown in Queensland this year, but this time there's some good news. Those whose income has been impacted by the lockdown will be able to claim federal COVID-19 disaster payments.
Queenslanders who lose more than 20 hours work in a week will be eligible for $750 payment per week, and those who lose under 20 hours work will be eligible for $450.
The government is yet to give any indication on whether the lockdown will be extended.
Rachel Rieger joins us now. Rachel, contact tracing efforts have now spread to central Queensland. What's happened?
Well, Matt, Queensland Health within the last hour has revealed that one of today's 9 new cases is a contractor working on the Rookwood Weir project west of Rockhampton. So she's a woman from Brisbane and she was infectious when she boarded a flight and flew to Rockhampton on Wednesday morning. She stayed on site for 2 days and then she's flown back to Brisbane on Friday. So work on the site has since stopped as Queensland Health urgently contact, trace and test workers, and they've been told to isolate in their room for 14 days. Workers have also been sent messages who have since left the site and told to isolate for 2 weeks, and passengers on those 2 Qantas flights are being tracked down by Queensland Health, as well as other close contacts of that woman.
And Rach, there have been dozens of new exposure sites added today. Where are some of the new sites?
Matt, the list just keeps growing and growing, so it's really vital for people to keep checking the Queensland Health website. But new sites have popped up in places like Sunnybank, South Brisbane, Spring Hill, Moggill, Pullen Vale, Wilston and St Lucia. That includes a lecture theatre at the University of Queensland. It's also shops, a school and a number of public transport routes. So really vital to keep checking the website.
Yeah, that's right. Rachel Rieger, thank you. Home classrooms are being set up once again across the southeast as parents and families prepare for remote learning from Tuesday. It comes as the Chief Health Officer warns schools are where her greatest concerns lie in this latest outbreak.
At some southeast schools, ovals have been converted to testing clinics as thousands of worried families race to get tested.
I am concerned. I think it's masks. I genuinely think that masks have made a big difference. And I am worried that this is spreading in schools because, of course, they don't use masks.
There's now 6 schools involved in Queensland's latest outbreak. Indooroopilly State High, Ironside State School, St Peter's Lutheran College, Pullenvale State School, Brisbane Grammar and Brisbane Girls Grammar. Hundreds of families connected to those schools are now in quarantine.
Each school has a different regimen in place because the risk is different.
Patrina Weatherstone's daughter is in Year 10 at Indooroopilly High. Her son attends Brisbane Grammar School.
We're definitely in the thick of it.
The entire family will now have to quarantine for 14 days. The timing of the Olympics helps the days go by.
I think there's a lot of concern. You know, we know how quickly it is spreading.
14-year-old Eva Pern also attends Indooroopilly High.
Some people are more worried than others, especially the senior students, because the initial case was a grade 11 student.
Her family is quarantining, but Eva has been advised to quarantine away from them separately.
So this is what I am confined to for the next 12 days. Then out here we have everybody else. Hello, Eva. We love you. So I'm going to go back into my room now.
But by Tuesday, the whole southeast Queensland school community will be united by one thing: home learning.
Turning on curriculum like that is not an overnight thing, but our teachers will do the best that they can.
Schools will only be open to children of essential workers. Here at Indooroopilly State High School, there'll be no staff or students on campus for 2 weeks, but for the rest of the southeast, there's hope it'll be back to school on Wednesday, though teachers are preparing in case home learning needs to be extended beyond that. Adding to the pressure, all teachers and students who are in grade 7 or older must now wear masks at school.
It will also have some challenges as well, so whether or not kids remember to bring their masks, but also wearing them in the classroom situation, having teachers communicate with children, some of that facial expression will be lost, but that's the medical advice.
Keeping all of us safe, just like the message painted by young Magnus Campbell.
I made it to comfort everyone.
Jessica Stewart, ABC News, Brisbane.
In New South Wales, there were 239 new infections today. One of the concerning aspects of this wave of the virus is the high rate at which it's affecting younger people. A family of 3 is sharing its experience with contracting the virus, hoping to convince other young, fit people that COVID does not discriminate.
This young family is starting to smile and laugh again. But just 2 weeks ago, it was a very different story.
I literally couldn't lift my head off my pillow. I couldn't even move around in the bed, and that was how it started.
39-year-old Melissa Green and her 3-year-old daughter Lola tested positive 2 days after her 40-year-old partner Dion Mason got the virus on July 13th.
I woke up on a Sunday morning feeling really sick, so vomiting, severe headaches. It was freezing cold, which went on for a few days.
Dion suffers from asthma, and almost a week into their infection, an ambulance was called.
It felt like a 200-kilo man standing on my chest.
He was discharged from hospital after several hours, but Melissa spent 8 days in hospital struggling to breathe.
There were a couple of days in there where my symptoms were actually at their worst and had temperatures of over 40 degrees. I was literally delirious.
Their daughter Lola escaped the worst symptoms.
That's probably one of the hugest reliefs for us, is that we didn't have to worry about her so much.
222 infected patients are in hospital, 54 are in intensive care and 25 need a ventilator to breathe.
We know, unfortunately, younger people, people under 39, now account for about 60% of cases in New South Wales.
The families say they were diligent with the rules, with Dion only going out for essential shopping.
It's a really hard time for everyone, and it's just, we've got to do the tough yards to come out the other side.
Melissa is still testing positive, but Dion and Lola are in the clear. They're hopeful the worst is now behind them. Rani Hayman, ABC News, Sydney.